Good morning. Welcome to Valley Unitarian Universalist Congregation. My name is Amanda Schneider. My pronouns are she, her, and I am your worship associate this morning. Much like the rainbow reflected on the pride flag, I personally believe everyone is on a spectrum of neurotypical behavior, a spectrum of gender expression, sexual preferences, and so on. So this morning, I welcome you, wherever you fall on the various spectrums of labeling, binary labeling that we have created. Welcome just as you are, my human heart to your human heart. We are always grateful to see new faces in our congregation. If you are here today and new to our congregation, I invite you, if you are willing and able, and really if you choose, to stand briefly so we may acknowledge you and greet you more fully after the service. And let's take a quick moment to give a wave to those who are joining us on YouTube. The camera is right up there. Good morning. Thank you. Each week we have trained pastoral care associates who are available to lend a listening ear should you need support or just somebody to connect to. This Sunday, pastoral care will be provided by Michael Woomer in the sanctuary, and Nancy Woomer online. They will be available for this upcoming week as well. You can find Michael up here in the front after the service, and Nancy will provide instructions on how to connect to her online. Caring Neighbors works to foster a loving and caring community in which VUU members and friends nurture, support, and assist each other through life's joys and trials. Should you need any support in this way, please reach out to them at caringneighbors@vuu.org. And finally, we do have a quiet room over to your right should you need that space during the service. Please plan to stick around after service for conversation, coffee, and snacks in the back of the sanctuary. And if you are new to Unitarian Universalism, we do have a welcome circle in the back to your left. Today, we are going to explore the concept of pride as a spiritual practice. I'm looking forward to this personally because as much as I feel I am a safe and welcoming person, I know I still do and say things, sometimes unconscious and other times well-meaning, that create an opposite reality of what I intend. I'm doing the best that I can, and I am continually striving to do better as I hear new perspectives. So welcome to our celebration and our opportunity to embrace new perspectives today. And if you will join me in the chalice lighting words. We kindle this flame, symbol of our faith, for the light of truth, the warmth of community, and the fire of love, which calls us to work for justice. Am I back? Okay. People sometimes ask, is pride a protest or a party?
And the answer is, of course, yes.
And why not?
Why not rejoice as we resist, dance as we demand change, celebrate as we create community that delights in all of who we are?
So bring all of that with you this morning.
Bring your policy demands, bring your glitter, bring your Supreme Court broken heart, bring your rainbow socks, bring the emptiness you feel for our siblings gone too soon.
Bring your Gloria Estefan remix. Bring your tender hope for change. Bring your most garish eyeshadow. Bring your spirit, tattered and battered by a world that seems insistent on choosing fear and hate.
Gather up all these things and bring them here to a place where we don't have to shoulder these burdens or celebrate these joys alone.
Come, let us worship together.
try that again. Good morning. Good morning. Nice to be with you this morning. My name is Seiferth. I'm the Director of Music Ministries. My pronouns are she, her. And we're going to sing together. Let's go ahead and stand if you're able. And this is a song that we've been learning together the last month. And it's a song I learned when I went to the Association of UU Music Ministries conference last year, which is coming up again this year at the end of July. If you're interested, catch me. You can email me at musicdirector@vuu.org, and I'll share some information about that. But this is a song that's written by Mother Tongue, and it's been done a lot in protest, and anytime we're coming together claiming that we're worth fighting for. So I hope you join us in singing if you're able. Goes like this. Will you sit with me? Will you sit with me? Just for a little while. I know there's a world worth fighting for. Comrade, I am hurting. Comrade, I am hurting. Just for a little while. I know there's a world worth fighting for. Comrade, I am weary. Comrade, I am weary. Comrade, I am weary. Just for a little while. I know there's a world worth fighting for. I'm not running away. No, I'm not giving up hope. But I am feeling tired. Just for a little while. I know there's a world worth fighting for. Comrade, hold my hand. Comrade, remind me. Just for a little while. I know there's a world worth fighting. Comrade, hold my hand one more time. Comrade, hold my hand. Hold your neighbor's hand. Comrade, hold my hand. Just for a little while. I know there's a world worth fighting. Comrade, hold my hand again. Comrade, hold my hand. Comrade, remind me. Remind me. Just for a little while. I know there's a world worth fighting for. Will you sit with me? Will you sit with me? Just for a little while. I know there's a world worth fighting for. Just for a little while. I know there's a world worth fighting for.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Kelsey McIntyre. I use the pronouns she, her, and I am the temporary acting director of faith formation. I'd like to invite all the kids to join me up front for our time for all ages. And if you guys have a contribution for our lovely chalice, thank you, Harriet, you can put it up front. In honor of Pride Month, I wanted to read you guys a book I wrote about coming out. Coming out can be really difficult, sometimes even really difficult for yourself. So I wanted to write something about that. And it's called The Witch Who Couldn't Make a Love Potion. Kat was the perfect witch.
Each morning, she put on her perfectly ironed dress and arranged her hat to flop just so. She brewed the perfect cup of tea with herbs from her garden. She flew to work without a hitch, always avoiding wind gusts or hard landings. And she spent all day brewing and bottling potions perfectly. But there was one potion she just couldn't get right, the love potion. Essence of toad to find your prince, 2 tears from a lonely night, and a sigh from a daydream. She stirred widdershins once, twice, thrice, and tapped her wand on the cauldron to seal the deal. But the potion came out green and lumpy, like radioactive gravy, instead of white and sparkly like a unicorn's horn. She tried again, and again, and again. She just couldn't get it to work. She confirmed her ingredients were perfectly fresh. Her ingredients, of course, were perfectly chopped and measured. Kat even used an hourglass to make sure her stirring was perfectly timed. The potion still came out wrong. She just couldn't brew a love potion. And then it hit her. She was using the wrong ingredients. A lavender sprig for a lady love true. That's what she needed to make the potion just right. In the potion it went, and she stirred once, twice, thrice. It didn't turn white and sparkle like a unicorn's horn. The cauldron swirled with oranges, pinks, and white. But she knew it was perfect, all the same. Now, if you guys would like to join us to do a little glitter blessing before we head out through our bridge of love.
We have 3 stations, so you can line up 1, 2, 3. And if you want a little glitter on your hand, we'll put it just a little bit on your hand, and then you can go through the that thing that we do. Next, huh?
Bridge of love.
Bridge of love. Thank you. Next, one on your hand. Glitter blessings. May you sparkle, sparkle, sparkle. Huh? Oh, I don't know. Name of your book.
We are building a new way.
Blessings.
We are building a new way, feeling stronger every day. We are building a new way. We are working. We are working to be free. We are working to be free. We are working to be free. Hate and greed and jealousy. We are working to be free. We can feed our every need. We can feed our every need. We can feed our every need. Start with love, that is the seed. We can feed our every need. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Without these, this world would die. Peace and freedom is our cry.
Take a deep breath. Today we are offering everyone who wants one a glitter blessing, a recognition of the sacred beauty inherent in every person. Now, glitter has long been a symbol for the LGBTQ plus movement of gritty, sparkly hope in the face of prejudice and oppression, of joy and pride in the face of hatred and bigotry. Now, glitter is resilient and tenacious. I see you've had it in your house too. The briefest beam of sunlight causes it to shine out even in the dustiest and dreariest of places, and its beauty comes from its brokenness. Glitter sparkles because it is many different broken pieces coming together, changing in every moment as the light changes. So the glitter that we share with each other today is a reminder that each of us is beautiful in our sacred imperfection, our ever-changing selves, our glorious plurality. So we bless this glitter. It's a sign of the mystery of the stars and the fabulousness of our souls. May we remember to shine and sparkle each and every day. May it remind us that we are beloved parts of creation. And in a moment, as we sing, you will be invited to come forward. There's 3 of us up here. You can get a little glitter on your hand or on your forehead. Just kind of point to where you want it. It's a little goes a long way, right? If you wish during that time to engage in one of our other rituals, if you're new here, we have candles that you can light for a prayer, maybe a joy. Someone in my family has a birthday tomorrow. Where did he go? No, all the way back here. You're going to have to come up here anyway, kid. So if you have a joy, a celebration, if you have a sorrow, something that you're struggling with, you can light a candle. We also have a fountain of water that represents the living waters of this congregation, and you can add a drop of water to it or place a stone somewhere in the fountain. And we have some sand and stones, and you might be someone who wants to hold a stone in your hand or to place one in the sand. If you want to hold it during the service and then put it back at the end, whatever you need to mark what's on your heart, on your mind, and in your soul. So as we sing today, we invite you to come down the center aisle to get your blessing and then out to go back so we're not all bumping into each other. And I'll invite Sol and Amanda to help me with the glitter. I invite you to pause with me. Look around at all the beautiful, shining faces with or without glitter that surround you, and at the amazing thing that is our blessed bodies gathered in this sacred space together. Everybody in this space and beyond it is a holy thing. Every person is sacred and made of stardust. So take a moment just to marvel at how extra glittery we are today, how fabulous we all are. And I offer you this prayer from H.P. Rivers, also known as Helen Cassandra. Blessed are the queer. Blessed are the wanderers seeking affirmation. Blessed are the worshipers praying from closets, pulpits, pews, and hardship. Blessed are the lovers of leaving family and a familiarity, leaving tables where love is not being served. Blessed are those who stay. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for justice, for they will be satisfied. Blessed are the queer disciples of truth, living, breathing, sacred reflections of divine love. Amen.
A conversation I had with a gay man a few months ago came to mind as I was reflecting on today's topic. He is one of those truly fantastic people whose energy and enthusiasm for life are contagious. During this conversation, we didn't know each other very well yet, and I found myself feeling like it was really important for him to know that I am a safe person, especially since I live in Arizona. Is it just me, or does anyone else feel compelled to justify their beliefs when meeting people from certain states? I spent last weekend in Portland with my best friend and her wife. I often feel a little abashed in their friend circles, mentioning that I live in Arizona. I'm working on overcoming that. Anyway, back to this conversation. At a certain point, I intentionally inserted, when I was with my friend and her wife recently, to signal to him that I am accepting of his sexuality and he is welcome with me. Though it was well-intentioned, it felt somewhat inauthentic because I forced it in rather than it just coming up naturally through the course of conversation. And this made me wonder, is there a better way to be in relationship with him that doesn't put his sexuality up front as part of my focus, but rather just looking at him as a human being, having whatever experience we are having together? And can I be okay with letting him believe what he thinks about me, trusting that my heart and beliefs and values will be revealed naturally as our relationship deepens? Can that be enough? And should that be enough? I inserted the somewhat awkward "I am safe" phrase, intending to make him feel accepted. But I wonder if it might inadvertently make him feel the opposite, if he sensed the awkward placement of my comment. And that led me to wonder, as a privileged person, in many respects, white, heterosexual, educated, etc., how often do I other people, despite my best intentions to be welcoming and inclusive? Last year, I saw a Pulitzer Prize-winning play called Fairview. According to a review, Fairview concerns a regular middle-class Black family seen in increasingly surreal ways. First, they seem to be part of a sitcom. Then the object of commentary by unseen white voices. Finally, the teenage daughter steps out of the story to ask white audience members to switch places with the Black cast on stage. She questions, could I tell them that those seats are not theirs, even though they paid for them? that no one can own a seat forever, that no one should. In the awkward moment when I realized that yes, this cast member was in fact asking white people to stand and move up onto the stage in the spotlight, to take her place and let her come and sit in the audience seats, I felt extremely uncomfortable in my earlier smugness of feeling like I'm a pretty good ally. Look at me, attending this play to get to be a more passionate perspective on what it's like to be Black. This experience made me realize in a heartbreaking and breathtaking way that the teenage girl was making a statement about wanting to escape this white gaze and just live her life as a human being without the constant scrutiny based on skin color. I still can't fully express the range of emotions or fully conceptualize what this experience meant, even a year later. But it gave me a new perspective on what allyship is and isn't, even with the best intentions. So I wonder if I can tie this experience over to the conversation with my gay friend. I wonder if he tires of people seeing his sexuality first, instead of recognizing him as a holistic, multifaceted human being. Did he sense my inauthentic attempt to insert my safe phrase into our conversation? And if so, did that sensing cause him to feel disconnected from me? As Dan Pierce writes in the book, Single Dad Laughing, the world is so obsessed with defining sexuality for everyone and attaching labels to it. Anytime any person openly leaves the sexual norm, their sexuality becomes more often than not the absolute defining characteristic of that Black person, of that person. It becomes the first thing people think about, and often the first thing they mention. Every other part of that person all but disappears. And the irony of me using this quote in a reflection that I began with a conversation I had with a gay man does not escape me here. So for me, the spiritual practice of pride is taking a critical look at actions I have taken in an effort to be inclusive that might have felt exclusive, and figuring out how I can demonstrate that I am a safe person without othering anyone else in the process. It will be practicing awareness of when I am making an assumption about someone, labeling them in some way that may cause me to relate to them in any other way than simply the human being in front of me that I'm sharing an experience or conversation with. So as we celebrate pride in all the ways we do, participate in parades, fly flags from our homes, put stickers on our cars and doors, yes, let's do that as an outward celebration of the courageous and diverse spectrum of human beings that got us to where we are today. And also with a more serious, deeper acknowledgement that goes beyond this month of how far we still need to go so that everyone, wherever they fall on the spectrum of gender expression and sexuality, feels wholly welcome and seen, just as a human being living their life and included in every space they enter. Here is to the spiritual work of creating a world where every individual can just be. Be seen through the lens of the human experience, seen, heard, and valued, just as they are. May it be so.
Will you sit with me? Will you sit with me? Just for a little while. I know there's a world we're fighting for. Comrade, hold my hand.
I'm Reverend Sarah Oglesby-Dunegan, the minister here at Valley Unitarian Universalist. A protest, a party, and a spiritual practice. We invite you to enter this June with all of these possibilities for honoring Pride Month. A protest, a reminder of the Stonewall Uprising and Marsha P. Johnson's declaration of her dignity and right to be exactly who she was without being criminalized. A party, a reminder of the parades and the glitter and the music and the celebrations that proclaim human joy despite oppression, hatred, and exclusion. A spiritual practice, an invitation to make room for all of who we are, to let go of assumptions about others, to expand our understandings of ourselves and each other, to embrace a fuller range of human expressions, identities, and relationships. An invitation to do this with ritual, in community, and with deep respect for our human need to belong. Writer John Scagliotti reminds us of the power of our stories. He says, "Oh, sure, I heard stories about police entrapments and ruined careers, bashings, commitment to the mental wards, and suicide, but somehow that was not important then. I had my face smashed into the pavement often enough as a kid in Texas to know about cruelty. What excited me was learning that in spite of oppression, gay people lived. They took risks. They made love and partied and painted masterpieces, wrote secret love poems. They made their own history, which, as it turns out, is also the history of the world." One of the reasons we focus our gratitude on the Black trans women who were early leaders in the LGBTQIA movement is because we are learning to understand their stories through the lens of their intersectionality. Each of these identities brings its own experiences and belonging, identities that are reclaimed in order to reclaim power. Scagliotti says that the determination to see and be seen may be the most remarkable innovation of all the liberation movements of the late 60s. Countless people making history by reclaiming it, revitalizing the language, renewing their own and everyone else's understanding of lived reality. Only kindred spirits would do it. Hundreds of archives opened up, and eventually, universities realized how rich neglected history was. It took identity politics to do that. History is enriched and transformed by our new understandings of each other's experiences. And he cautions those who would dismiss identity politics as something created by the oppressed to be special. Rather, it's a reclaiming of power that was extracted through violence and oppression. We corrected the record by creating a politics of liberation and declaring ourselves. I invite each of us to engage the work ahead of us with the spirit that we are never too young to lead and never too old to learn. Amen? Never too young to lead and never too old to learn. We have expanded our understanding of masculine and feminine, and we have separated our understanding of gender identity and expression and sexual orientation. We choose all kinds of clothes to wear, different colors, jewelry, names that we choose, pronouns that match who we know ourselves to be. These have been shifting and expanding, loosening and transforming. The binaries of male and female, masculine and feminine, hetero and homosexual now have many other possibilities alongside them. Now, when I was in college, many of my friends came out for the first time. If you're older than me, this probably happened later in life, and maybe you didn't realize it was happening because our communities weren't as integrated and affirming as they can be today. And if you're younger than me, you might have had friends come out in high school or even earlier. And now our kids have language and opportunities to name their experiences of attraction and identity as soon as they begin to notice them. And for some trans kids, this happens before puberty. As a young adult, my memories of clubbing all center on the area in Dallas that we knew of as the Gayborhood, Oaklawn, where bars and restaurants and houses and businesses all catered to those outside of heteronormativity. We were gay, queer, lesbian, trans, and places where it didn't matter whose hand you were holding or whose lips you were kissing, didn't matter how you dressed or what kind of makeup you wore. Now, the spaces where this is socially acceptable include this church. And they are far greater in number. We see gay, queer, non-binary, and trans images and people in real life and on TV and in movies and in ways that signal real change is happening. There's not just one neighborhood or bar or place to be gay. There are many. Now, a lot has changed since my clubbing days, and I'm not just talking about my hair going gray. My youngest kid keeps teaching me all kinds of new things. We're on the cusp of meaningful changes. We've seen marriage equality and being able to change your gender on legal documents, pronouns for folks who are non-binary, and same-sex couples raising families without hiding. You can buy pride flags from Walmart. I don't know how I feel about that, but you can. You can. And yet we still face reactionary laws and strained relationships with family members and friends and coworkers whose fear of change and fear of difference fuel cruelty and barriers. Housing, jobs, medical care, bathrooms, sports, and everyday needs and activities are still areas of discrimination and even potential criminalization for some of us. Experiences of violence and mental health challenges because of these challenges haven't disappeared. We lose beloveds every year to these, even as we are expanding the range of spaces that can hold us as we are and nurture us as we need. Now, I can remember reading Adrienne Rich for the first time in my women's studies class 30 years ago. Of course, her words had been written for a couple of decades by the time I read them. And feeling a rush of excitement when she described a continuum of sexual and gender orientation, not an either or. The idea that I could be woman-centered, I realized I didn't have to be gay or straight. And now I have the word pansexual, thanks to our younger crowd, to describe the reality of attractions that aren't based in a particular gender. And at age 52, I can say some things about myself I couldn't say 30 years ago because I didn't have the language or self-awareness to say them. I can say that had I grown up with the option of she, they pronouns, I would have understood myself better. The old constructs of tomboy just didn't allow the fullest version of myself to be known. Pride as a spiritual practice is a chance to be contemplative about the human condition, what it means to be people whose experiences and desires, expressions and needs aren't easy to label and categorize. We have to keep adding to the possibilities. We have more stories to tell and more voices to be heard. Now, I recently discovered author Becky Chambers. Anybody else read her? You should look her up. She's the science fiction writer whose series introduced a potential future where our exposure to a wide range of alien sentient beings causes us to understand even our humanity as a narrow range of possibilities within a universe of alternative ways of being, from gender identity to sexual behavior and expression or reproduction, parenting, and even creating families. Her stories take for granted that in the future we might always use neopronouns like sie, zer, zim for beings whose gender identity is unknown or undecided or unfolding. Some of her characters are completely non-binary, and it's just an uncontested fact It's not something to deliberate on or question. That's just who the character is. And learning to be open and affirming in her world means checking many more assumptions than the ones that we are struggling with today. Her characters remind each other of the agreements they've made in order to work and live in their interspecies world peacefully. And it's a reminder to me that the struggles we are facing now to accept and honor each other are likely to increase in complexity as we ourselves deepen our own self-awareness and expand our own boundaries to be more inclusive. So now I know most of you have probably seen Star Trek. Yes. Just as Star Trek and other science fiction has taught us new ways to consider what it means to be human and to be humane, Chambers has engaged me in considering new angles of our future and what might be required of each of us to embrace its possibilities. So whether you are celebrating this month, Out and Proud, or learning more about inclusivity and allyship, or being a true accomplice, or maybe just trying to figure yourself out in this moment, we're glad you're here. We hope you found here a community of beloveds who are willing to protest, party, and pray with you in ways that honor our shared community, our shared humanity with love and respect. Blessed be. I'm Reverend Sarah Oglesby-Dunegan, she, they.
As we collect this morning's offering, I want to share an excerpt from Walking Toward Morning by Victoria Seiferth. I will not speak of tolerance with its courteous, clenched teeth and bitter resignation. I will not speak about acceptance of other people and some other kind of lifestyle. I can only look in laughing wonder at human life in all its incarnations. I can taste only in passing the breath of the spirit of life on my mouth and understand our common longing to breathe in deep, deep gulps of it. I cannot think of being anybody else's ally even, because even that implies some degree of separation, some degree of safety for some of us, not all. We are allied with no one and with nothing but love, the larger love transcending all our understanding, within which all the differing, gorgeously variant, beautifully deviant aspects of ourselves are bound in elegant unity. Your generosity this morning sustains this congregation and helps us create this beautiful vision of unity. Thank you. Will the ushers please come forward?
Be seen, speak, let my body take space. Be seen, speak, let my body
As we go forth, we offer you this final blessing. May you receive and reflect love everywhere you go, and know in your deepest heart and in every day you matter and you belong.
May you hold on to hope and your inner sparkle, even when discouragement and despair beckon.
May the beauty that is you shine out, bright as the stars from which we came and to which we will return.
Together, may we make this a place of welcome and healing, of connection and plurality.
Today, may we practice compassion and courage, seeing and celebrating and supporting each other.
Together, may we be the sparkling force of love that our world needs.
Blessed by this community and by the divine, go forth and celebrate with pride. And stay for our closing hymn.
Please stand in body or in spirit for our hymn. It's in our teal hymnal, number 1008. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we trust the wisdom in each of us, every color, every creed and kind, and we see our faces in each other's eyes, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we tell our story from deep inside, and we listen with a loving mind, and we hear our voices in each other's words, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we share the silence of sacred space, and the God of our hearts stirs within, and we feel the power of each other's faith, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place.
Won't you join us in these words for extinguishing our chalice? Though we extinguish the chalice, our connection to each other and this community remains. May its light guide us this week as we walk the path of justice, speak words of love, and fill our world with compassion until we meet again. Go in peace, stay for conversation. Have a lovely week.